Hello guys, and I'm recording this video to brief the process how I've been started this asset. So as I received this reference from you and I did some of research into it and just a little bit of like the proportions and the height and width and everything. So this is my mood board and some of the additional mood boards that I have in my separate folders. So this is my main concept which I've been going through. So let's see how I've been started this entire asset. So let me put it this to the side. And yeah, so the very first when I received this, I just did some research onto it and I found some height and width for this particular Chinese antique chair. So based on this dimension, anytime when I'm starting any props or character or anything, I always try to keep one human character in my viewport, so it's communicating me the actual height of the object. So this human height is around 180 centimeter. So based on that, I created this cube with the based on this measurement that we have. I just tweak this little bit more because when I'm trying to get this proportion with this chair, it's not fitting nicely. So I just little bit change these values. So I created these cubes. So this bottom cube is determining where my leg is going to be, and so the leg, this part where it's going to be fit, and the blue one is addressing like the centerpiece over here, and this other green one is for this section, and yeah, there's three sections over here. So and the very top, the red one is for these dragons and all those things. So I have been just divided these sections in the various colors, like zones, like which part do I need to start in pieces. So I started with the middle part, like this base part, because the base, the rest of the object and parts are getting started from here. So this is the main. It's my consideration. So I've been started from here, and yeah. So first of all, I did the blocking something like this. So let me come to this and show you the blocking how it's going to be look like. So this is the blocking which I have been done, and while I was doing the blocking, I was keeping in mind like my poly count and my smooth corners and everything. So I'm very being uh, measured according to that, like how much of division that I need to have, which can be easily helping me to have my low poly and high poly. So here it is my base, and just when I was doing, I was thinking like how I'm going to create these kind of patterns and everything. So to designing these patterns manually, it will be time consuming. So I've been did some UV tricks onto this. So what I did with this, I just selected these faces from this one and this one, and I created UV layout, which is very straight stripe. So just right over here, you can see this is the UV which I have been created for this top one, and on top of that, I was created some these kind of patterns. So this pattern is helping me to create the alpha or texture map. So which texture I can assign onto this. So basically, those texture will be looking something like this. So this texture I applied on this area, and there is one more texture which I applied, this one, onto this area. So when we have the straight UV, doesn't matter how the shapes are going, it will be being intact nicely. So at the same time, I can control the tiling and everything. I can make this seamless and all those things. And when I'm importing into a ZBrush, I can utilize these things by while creating the mask and all those things. So let's finish the Maya part first, and then I'll jump into a ZBrush section. So how the ZBrush was happening. So now after creating this piece, I exported into ZBrush, which is looking something like this, and I just roughly blocked these pieces by using this BI and this curve tube. So the curve tube is really handy to create the shape, and later you can just do the adjustment and everything. So whatever the shape that you want to have, you can immediately have this, and it's very frequent. And to just reshaping it, I used the move and how I want to. So there is lots of back and forth, like how the proportion and everything. So just I made this handle blocking how it's supposed to go. So when it was done, so this is like little bit more polished version. I tried to maintain the curvature based on this curvature, so how it's going to be look like in the back, and when the person is sitting, it will be nicely, holding the body shape. So this curve should be more refined. So still in further, you can see this shape is more refined. So after finishing this, I will show you how I added this pattern over here, the detailed pattern. So yeah, after finishing this curve over here, I plan to create the dragon shape, which is uh, this one. So for that, I just started with this thing. So I'll show you how I have the history from the very beginning, how I've been started. So the dragon piece, I was actually kept it in the very center because I want to create both side and symmetry, so I can reduce my time. And as well as this pieces, later if I been completed from the center, I'll just move it to the side and making the copy out of it. So at the same time, I created this neck piece also. So I'm just keeping just roughly like this. So I have the idea where it's going to be. And now I can show you the history, how I've been proceed. So mostly I'm using DAM standard move and, clay buildup brushes. So to get this result done. So yeah. So as long I've been moving, and so from there to this much of detail, so at least I have a just a rough sketch like how the dragon face is. And again, there is lots of push and pulls going on. So this was the rough blocking till this much, and slowly I just started to add some more into it. So let me turn this off and can show what is these things. So slowly I just taken some pieces and just making the mask and just extruding it out, so I can independently control these kind of things, like how big and how small that it's supposed to be. And it's always nice to have a separate subdivision, so it's making your works a little bit more easier. So that's how I added the one sphere into this, and this is the eyeball, something like that. So let's come to the detail, how I've been carved, the details and all those things. So mostly I'm very frequently using some of the brush which is DEM standard for these kind of brush details and everything, standard and move and snake, hook, something like that. So and some all brushes have been used over here. So there's lots of brushes, lots of varieties of brushes have been used to make this. So this is not just a final sketch. It's just a rough sketch, and in the later stages, when I'm moving forward, I'll keep on cleaning it up. So this is the little bit more refined version of the dragon head. So one side I've been added these scoots, and later I will be doing over here. I added this center scoot over here, and I did this kind of flary things, something, I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And when I'm moving forward for the third day, and yeah, here we go, we have something. So these things have been mentioned in the Maya which I was created. Let me show you quickly in Maya. So based on my UVs, I just bring it over here in this, and I just went to my surface. So I just quickly went to surface and just clicking onto this noise and just edit the noise and just added this alpha into this and just say okay. And I applied that alpha as in mask, noise as in mask, and I use this inflate, so I can just make this things how much the extrusions wants to be exactly the same. I created this part also, so it's really nice. It's really nice to do that things. Okay, and same thing goes with this guy also. I created exactly in the same way which I've been created for that. So I'll just quickly demonstrate what. So to creating that scoop detail, I bring that mesh into a Maya, and I created the UV, which is very straight, look like this. So the both side it's overlapping each other, so it will be 100% symmetrical. So it will be easy to handle. So I created this UV in the very straight and just put it like this, and whatever the alpha which I have been created, I've been kept it just right over here. So and let me. So after creating that UV in Maya, I can just quickly bring this model in ZBrush, and I'll just quickly go with the UV and check my UVs. So here it is, this all the UVs is being lined up on top of each other because the Maya is not working as in UDM. So if there is overlapping and going outside of 0 to 1, it will be looking some weird, but when you're applying in the texture, it will be looking fine. So I'll just quickly divide my model a couple of times, and I'll quickly go with the surface, and I'll just go with the noise. Okay, and just clicking onto this, and let me find where it is, my alpha, so I can quickly apply that alpha. So now I've been loading my alpha into this, and let me frame this model so I can see where it is going to be look like. So this is looking fine, and just rather having 3D, go with the UV so you can see these things, and just reduce your mix noise at 0, and I'm just increasing this intensity, the strength, so I can see how the scale is looking like. So whether you're going in negative or positive doesn't matter, because we are just going to utilize as a mask. So here we go, we have this effect is happening. So rather directly applying from here, I choose to go uh, with mask, because I have much better control with having a mask. Wherever I want to make it soften, I can go with this. So applying alpha through the UVs, you will have the variation, like the bigger and then smaller, and like the density is getting changed. So it's really nice and handy thing to do. And I just click onto this button to make a mask, and here we go. And then I just turning off visibility of the mask, and I'm just going with the deformation and applying inflate. So you can see I can control it how much that I need it, and some area if you don't want, you can. So before applying this, what I have been done over here, I stored the morph target. So if some area is looking wonky or something like that, which is not looks good, I can have my morph target, so I can just go and fix it. So in the very end of the tail, I can see the intensity is way too much, so I can just go with my morph brush and just increasing my brush size. Double click onto this, and I'm reducing the intensity, and I can just tone it down, so it will having a better control. So like you can adding some more variation into this. So that's how I created this piece, and this area, like this tail area, they don't have any scoot, so I can just quickly go with this and just get rid of these things. Okay, so to having with this, we have tons of control, like to make this complex shape rather going manually. Some of the area have been done manual tweaking, some of the area have been done manual push and pull, because I want to have some variation. But 80%, 90% your job is done by just alpha, if you have a nice alpha being grabbed. So the alpha which I've been grabbed through this Z grabber. So if you go to alpha, and we have a mesh from alpha, so any object if you have a viewport you can have. So I created that alpha from Maya. So the alpha was looking something like this. So this style I was created, and it's imported in ZBrush, and I grabbed this as an alpha, and I utilized this, and a little bit tiling problem, so I fixed that tiling in Photoshop to make this seamless feel. So yeah, that's how it is. This is the result of second day after spending around 18 hours or something. Day 3, I started to adding these kind of detail and something like this, the breakup and the scoot on top of this, these underbelly platings. So this will be going to be a mirror at this side. So I just created one side. When it is be finalizing and everything, I'll just do the mirror at this side. So that's how it's gonna look like. I've been just taking a little bit of artistic liberties to do this shape because the reference was not that good. So I have been visualized some other shapes and just created something like that, which can be resemble with this. It's not like the alien piece which have been added over here. I try to synchronize with the details, so I added this piece in this way. So yeah, let's come to the feet, leg, whatever you can call. So again, this part I also started with the Z sphere and just pushing and pulling, just stretching it with the move brush, and I just created this shape. And this shape, the wings I was created. I'll show you how I created this. So let me have this. And if you go with the brush, and we have some this one curve thing, so I just created something. So I'm not giving this 100%, but this is the how I was created this. So why it is not showing it, let me. So yeah, I just taken the sphere because it was not working there because of the division. So I just using this and make whatever the shape that I needed, and I just reshaped it according to the difference, and I created just something like this. So this was the process to creating this wings, but this leg I was created with the sphere. I just pulling it, and so here it is a little bit more further detail on creating the leg and putting these scoots. So that's how it's going to look like. And this is for this, so it's completely dynamic. It's not been zero meshed or anything yet. This piece I believe it's zero meshed, so I have a nice topology, so at least I can control my divisions and everything. And yeah, so let's see the. So this is the final piece I created, the leg. So these kind of alpha I created in ZBrush and just in GrabDoc, and I applied this. So and these are all the carvings and everything I did with the dam standard and all brushes. So yeah, and with this, when I completed with the shape, I just created my Z-remeshed mesh, so I can utilize in future to creating my low poly. No need to go with the manual retopo because it's time consuming. Yeah, after finishing this leg, I just made a couple of copies, and I just created this to check how it's going to be, set. And I just making my calculation and doing the centerpiece of details, so how it is going to be. So I plan to create the front and back unique, and in the side I'll be going to use this same the backs details over here, so I can use some time to making this process easy. And let's move to the day 4th, which will be almost there to finish. So I just duplicated the same legs in 45-degree angle in each corners, and I just tried to blend these things nicely with each other, and I'm using the same pattern here and like the in three-sided, and just a front is being unique, the rest all is like copying. So yeah, that's how it's gonna look like with all the details and everything. So this is the final model before moving for my retopo and everything. And this material, it looks eye-catchy. So when I'm doing modeling, I try to capture all the details and minute details. But again, I don't go at too much because we don't have a poly budget. We don't have a texture, a bigger texture, like we have a texture limitation to use just a 4K texture for this entire asset. So and try to go as much as symmetrical because it will be saving your times a lot. And when we are creating the game asset, we are trying to use as in modular. So if I created this one leg over here, I can utilize the same leg into this other side. So yeah, that's how it's gonna go. So yeah, this is the process of my modeling. I always go back and forth from Maya and ZBrush. My whole intention to get my result nicely and neat and clean. So I mostly spend my time between ZBrush and Maya. So wherever making my job easier, and then I just immediately jump into it and just getting my result nicely. And I organized my folder really nicely. So if any other artist is going to be work on that, they have easy understanding. So you can just the artist can turn it off and on and see how these things are being separated in the folder, so they can easily just focus on the particular area rather keeping all these pile up here and there, and it will be helping for to delivering your result really nicely so anyone can easily get understand, yeah, this file is really looking convenient and understandable. So this was the whole process of creating the high poly within ZBrush and Maya. So let's jump for low poly, how I've been created the low poly and all. So mostly I've been taking from the ZBrush only because my most of the meshes are being created are really nice with having the topology. I just need to alternatively optimize the shapes and some of the things I need to uh, do like manual retopo or quad draw or something like that. So let's jump into Maya and I'll show you my final game res model, how it's gonna look like. So, yep, this is the game is the budget which I've been received is 15,000 tries, and my current topology is 18,000 tries. So what I have been decided after doing my texture baking and everything, I will try to optimize some of the loops alternatively, so where I can save some of the poly and try to reach as close as possible with the given budget, because or I will create one LOD for this. So like I can explain or maybe I can communicate how the LODs are getting done with these kind of models and everything. So let's see. This is the topology, how it's gonna look like. So let's make this screen size. So I try to keep a very even distribution, very nice and clean topology. I just added the loops where it's been required. So mostly I've been spend my loop onto the silhouette where it is getting break, and rest all it's flat. I have been not traced any shapes or anything because it's not making any sense because I don't have a poly budget. And this piece is symmetrical, so after completing this UV and all, I can reutilize the same thing, and I will plan this how I'm going to do the texture, whether I'm going to use symmetric or asymmetric. So it's little tricky for me, so I will be planning that. So let's see how I've been started. So this is this whole process how I've been done my modeling, high poly and low poly, and we'll see the texturing. So after completing high poly, let's jump to the low poly. So this is the low poly basically, and I'll show you the UV how I have been created. So more some of the part I've been keeping as an overlapping of elements, so I can get most of the resolutions possible. So yeah, so some of the feeds I've been keeping as an overlapping. One dragon face I'm keeping as an overlapping, the side I'm keeping as an overlapping, and the top position I've been keeping a copy of it and I'm just putting into downside so it's not look like a hollow. So this is how this low poly is, and this is the UV that I have created. So I've been keeping nice spacing between one and another island. So if in future, if we are creating the LOD, so it's not dilating or it's during the mip mapping, it's not overlapping effect. So I kept it around 10 pixel or 12 pixel or something. Yeah, 12 pixels gap between each and every island. So it will be safe when we are creating the low poly. LODs, sorry. So it's not creating any problems. So yeah, that's how it is. And let's jump in Substance Painter. So I'll show you how I've been started the texture. So here it is in the Substance Painter. So right now I'm using Adobe Substance Painter, the latest version. And so these are the map which have been created. So let's start with the normal map. So this is the normal map, and some of the area was not coming good, so I did some cleanup in Photoshop. Okay, so yeah, this is the normal map, how it's gonna look like. This is the world space. So mostly when we are using Substance Painter, there is three maps which is like mostly have to have very clean and all. One which is normal map, the other is ambient occlusion, and the third one is curvature map. So if these three maps are coming good, rest all your uh, like your procedural functions will work properly. All your smart materials and smart mask will be working fine. So some of the area was having a little bit of glitch in each map, so I did those cleanup in Photoshop, so at least I can avoid some unnecessary, like here it's overlapping, so we have some patch artifact is going on somewhere over here, so somewhere beneath the neck and all those things. So wherever the two meshes are quite close to each other, so because of our projection distance, those problems happen somewhere here, somewhere here. So wherever this quite close to each other, this is having some problem. So I just taken that in Photoshop, and I did some manual painting, so at least I can have a nice and clean mesh. Especially over here, if you see, there's a little bit of cleanup. So I did, but still it is not that good. But I don't have any problem with that. Just a small stuff there. And yeah, this is the ambient occlusion and this is the curvature. So these three maps is very essential when you're doing Substance Painter texturing. So with the PVR workflow, it's very important. If you have these things very clean, then you have no need to worry about much. So these are all the maps that I have, and let's see the entire texture how it's going to be look like. So let's go with channels. So this is the color, how it's gonna look like. Color, and there is no metalness because it's rough and shiny wooden, and this is the roughness. So roughness is also playing very important role to give the mood. It's a shiny or uh, a matte finish, something like that. So this is the roughness. We have a nice breakup here and there, and we have a normal map, and we have a mix with normal, baked normal, and whatever the heights channels have been played over here. So these kind of scratches and a little bit of breakup here and there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And this is the overall, the final result, the texture which I have over here. So yeah, that's how it is. And so this is the texture which is completed, and I did some rendering setup in Marmoset. So that's how it's going to look like. So I don't have Unreal Engine, so I'm just using the same process which we use in Unreal, but Unreal is much better than Marmoset. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The whole process of creating this chair, and I hope you guys are like it. Thank you so much.